Characteristics of sound. At the end of this session, you will be able to describe the important features of sound, describe the characteristics of sound, identify the role of characteristics of sound in distinguishing each sound. Can you imagine this world without any sound? We would have enjoyed the chirping of birds, laughing of kids, roaring of sea, whispering of breeze, and melody of music, and yes, listening each other too. And what if all of them would have sounded same? Sound would have become annoying and unwanted. The variety of sounds and its variation, such as louder or softer sounds, is what we enjoy the most about sound. That's why studying the characteristics of sound waves becomes very interesting, as it unfolds the mystery of why each sound sounds different than the others. Features of the sound waves. We know that sound is a form of energy. Sound is generated as a wave on vibration of an object and travels through a medium and reaches our ears. Our ears can recognize each sound due to its uniqueness. The uniqueness of sound is because of different features and characteristics sound waves have. Let's study about a few features and characteristics of the sound waves. Some of the important features of sound are wavelength, amplitude, and frequency. Wavelength is the distance between two consecutive crests or the distance between two consecutive troughs. Amplitude is the highest of a crest or a trough. It is the maximum distance that a molecule covers due to the energy received from the source. Higher the energy, higher is the distance covered by the molecules, and higher is the amplitude. Frequency is the number of waves produced and pass a point in 1 second. When a source produces more number of waves per second, its frequency is higher. Characteristics of sound. Different sound waves can have different wavelength, amplitude, or frequency. This gives different characteristics to each sound and helps us to distinguish them from one another. The three characteristics of sound which bring variation in sound are loudness, pitch, quality. Loudness. When you tap a drum, it sounds soft, and when you hit it hard, you hear a louder sound. Generally, loudness is referred as volume. We have to increase the volume of a speaker for making it louder. Loudness or volume can be increased or decreased by increasing or decreasing amplitude of the sound waves. Higher the amplitude, louder is the sound produced. Higher amplitude means molecules have higher energy and they can travel larger distance, thus giving louder sound. Thus, loudness of sound depends on the amplitude. Now, you must have got why the device used for getting louder sound output from audio systems is called amplifier. Pitch. Sound can be characterized and recognized as a low-pitched sound and a high-pitched sound. The high-pitched waves sound shrill or sharp than the low-pitched sound. The high-frequency waves produce high-pitched sound and the low-frequency waves produce low-pitched sound. A bird produces more number of waves in a second than a lion can. It means the frequency of the sound waves produced by a bird is higher than the frequency of sound waves lion can produce. That's why a bird makes a high-pitched sound but a lion makes a low-pitched sound. The pitch of the sound depends on the frequency of the sound waves. Quality or timbre. Two sound waves can have same loudness and pitch, still they can be heard as different sounds because they differ in characteristic called quality or timbre. For example, when the strings of a guitar and a sitar are adjusted to give same pitch and loudness, even then we can distinguish one sound from another. This is possible as each instrument or any source of sound has different quality or timbre. When an object vibrates, it does not produce sound waves of only one frequency. The same object generates different waves from lower to higher frequencies. The lowest frequency is called as fundamental, whereas the remaining higher frequencies are called harmonics or overtones. Timbre is the unique combination of these fundamental and harmonics which make each sound different from one another. Though the lowest frequency or fundamental of source remains the same, the harmonics produced are different. In fact, the harmonic frequencies and the relative loudness determine the quality or timbre of a sound. Different harmonics produce different sound output that helps us to recognize different sounds. Thus, timbre is the variation of sound waves that make each sound unique. Thus, loudness, pitch, and quality of sound, all these characteristics contribute to produce the large variety of sounds that make the sound an amazing gift of nature. To summarize the learning of the session, we can say that sound is a form of energy, travels as a wave, and the variety of sound exists due to different features of a wave. The variation is features bringing variation characteristics of the sound, making each sound distinct from another. Few important features of sound are wavelength, frequency, and amplitude. Three characteristics of sound that we discussed are loudness, pitch, and quality or timbre. Loudness is determined by the amplitude, pitch is determined by the frequency, and quality is determined by the overtone frequencies and their relative loudness. Characteristics of sound help us to recognize different sounds and contribute to variation in sound.